By Safeco Insurance, find a local agent at safeco.com. Do more. And by the Emerald Queen Casino, presenting The Voice, Paul Rogers, September 30th. Tickets at emeraldqueen.com. Well, a very happy Labor Day, and everybody deserves a day off, including the Hammering Man. His only day off all year. Very fitting. Beautiful day here around Seattle as the Mariners getting set to open up this 3-game series against the Houston Astros. Scott Service, A.J. Hinch exchanging lineups at home plate. The Mariners coming off a sweep of the Oakland A's. And Mike, the offense was hammering all series long, including this man, Mitch Haniger, 4 hits yesterday.
4 hits yesterday, including a home run, his 10th home run on the year. And going to hit second in the lineup tonight. I think everybody's excited about the way Mitch has been swinging the bat lately. Yesterday, a big day for him, as Aaron mentioned, with the 4 hits. But if you think back to April, how well he was swinging, how much he meant to this club, it'd be nice to get him hot here in the last month of the season.
I remain surprised that that home run did not get into the second deck. Came close.
Came close.
But that was crushed. If we take a look at the box score from yesterday, Haniger was not the only guy with 4 hits. How about Robinson Cano? Home runs in back-to-back games, 4 ribbies, 4 hits as well yesterday.
Which is great to see. Robbie obviously can carry this club over the next few weeks if he can get hot, and he certainly is trending that way. As Aaron mentioned, home runs in back-to-back games for him. Now 21 home runs on the year. So it's great to see him swinging well, and the guys in front of him getting on the bases. As you take a look at the home run that he hit in yesterday's ball game, no doubt about it. Another one of the hot hitters for the Mariners.
Well, the Mariners offense has been clicking so far on this homestand as they look to make it 4 in a row behind this man, Erasmo Ramirez, who has spun 4 consecutive quality starts, entering today, looking to keep that going against Dallas Keuchel and the Astros coming up here from Safeco Field.
Swing and a miss, struck him out. Vincent, baby! Let's play.
Now the Mariners are in the midst of the wild card push this final month of the regular season from Safeco Field today. Happy Labor Day. It's the Mariners and the first place Houston Astros, the first of this 3-game series, as the Mariners give the ball to Erasmo Ramirez to take the start here today for the Mariners up against the Astros. We take a look now at the lineup by the Astros and A.J. Hinch.
Difficult lineup for him to work through today. When you look at the Astros, they are first in slugging, first in on-base percentage, and it starts with George Springer, one of 2 players in Major League Baseball to be a leadoff man and have 30 home runs. You have to be careful with him. Very aggressive team also. Jose Altuve, MVP candidate. He leads the American League in hitting. For Altuve, 14 starts, 5-5 record, a 4.43 ERA, and 101 innings this year. He has 80 strikeouts, 24 walks.
How about the defense behind him?
And a look at the defense. It's good defense overall. Cameron Maben coming over from the Angels will be in center field. Or excuse me, Taylor Motter will be in left field. Danny Valencia will get the start at first base. And Mike Zunino had yesterday off. He's back behind the dish this evening. For Ramirez in his last outing, 6 innings, a couple of earned runs, 4 quality starts in a row for Ramirez.
Taking on the best lineup in the majors this year. And he starts Springer off with the first pitch strike. Mike mentioned the 4 consecutive quality starts for Ramirez. The only longer streak this year by Mariners starter James Paxton. Paxton spending 9 straight quality starts earlier this year. Ramirez making start number 7 in a Mariners uniform this season. To Seager on a couple of bounces. Routine out number 1.
For Ramirez, his average fastball this year 92 miles an hour. Throwing his cutter as of late in a good pitch form. Opponents hitting just 194 on the cutter. His changeup a 191 batting average. His cutter will be right around 88 miles an hour.
Now facing Alex Bregman, number 2 hitting third baseman. Soft pop up. Haniger foul ground. And can't make the catch. Bangs his hip into the padded wall. Just out of his reach for strike 1.
And this is a difficult play. You know the wall is there, and you know it's right about the level of your knees as he slams into it. Reaching into where the fans are, just out of his reach. You see Bregman has been a hot hitter. 393 in his last 14 games.
Now both these teams come into this series with a winning streak. The Mariners sweeping aside the A's in 3 games. Meanwhile, for A.J. Hinch, his Astros have won 4 in a row. Back to Seager again. Low pick, anchoring the line. Out number 2.
And that last play is one of the reasons why he's different than a lot of the third basemen in this league. This is a very difficult play that he's going to make. Another reason why he has a gold glove. But for Kyle, typically very aggressive on the defensive side of things. And he's going to charge us in between hop. He's still able to pick it on the backhand side. And because he was able to field it cleanly, he has plenty of time to make a strong throw across the diamond. There are not many third basemen that can then make that play. And Ramirez certainly enjoyed it. Well, Aaron, do you want to go over some numbers for Jose Altuve and what he's done this year?
And we very well could be looking at the American League MVP right now.
I think so. You can see the batting average at 357. 21 home runs this year. 72 RBIs.
Some are making a case for Trout to win the MVP should the Angels make the postseason. And the numbers that Trout have put up, of course, remarkable. But you look at what Altuve has done all season long. Trout, of course, missing about 5, almost 7 weeks actually on the disabled list with that thumb injury. But Altuve leading the majors in batting average. And this is a guy, Mike, we saw this last year. He transitioned from a guy who just hit singles and some doubles to a guy who can hit doubles and some home runs as well. He's turned into a pretty good power hitter.
Yeah, he really has. And you have to be careful with him. I was reading the notes from the Astros talking about Altuve. I think it's the first time this year, and it's the first time in a while that I can remember, but he's leading the American League in WAR, Aaron.
Oh, this is going to be a good day, Mike.
And hits, as you can see right there.
Mike dropping wins above replacement. Mike, we don't even have 3 outs in the books.
And Mike Trout's still in the league, right?
You're right. He is still in the league. Full count now to Altuve. Now he has a 300, 400, 500 slash line this year. Altuve, an all-star again for the 4th straight season. But an out here, out number 3. I'll give you something you can do with that WAR, Mike. 3 up, 3 down. We go to the bottom of the 1st, scoreless here at Safeco Field. Mariners seeing Dallas Keuchel for the first time since opening day, when the former Cy Young Award winner went 7 scoreless against the Mariners from downtown Houston, Texas. Pitching here today in Game 1 of the series against this Mariners lineup.
Gene Segura going to lead things off. Mitch Haniger with 4 hits yesterday. He will move up and hit second in the lineup. Robinson Cano has been the hot hitter for them. 4 hits yesterday, has homered in back-to-back games. And Danny Valencia against Keuchel, a .444 hitter with a couple of home runs.
Keuchel coming off a rough one against the Texas Rangers. Here are his numbers overall.
114 and a third, 97 strikeouts, over 35 walks for Keuchel. This will be his 19th start of the year.
Keuchel's been on the disabled list a couple of times this season because of neck discomfort. So many question marks around Keuchel this year after an off season last year, off in terms of his productivity. Winning the Cy Young the year prior to that. Only hiccup this year for Keuchel has been health. When he's been out there, by and large, has been very effective, as the Mariners saw back on opening day. Straight up for Segura, no surprise. It was interesting hearing Gene's comments following Game 1 of the A's series, rather, saying that he hadn't felt like he had swung the bat like that and as long as he can remember. It's beginning to really heat up now. Back-to-back 3-hit games.
I think sometimes for a hitter like Gene, who's typically aggressive, puts the ball in play, wants to swing the bat, when they go through their struggles, it just takes them getting a couple of hits, and then they'll take off again. We've seen how hot he can get, using the entire field.
Up the middle, over the mound. Correa has to go right off his chest. Leadoff base hit for Gene Segura.
And we'll take a look at Correa, just off the disabled list, played in yesterday's game, so his second game back, trying to make the diving play. Gets a glove on it, but can't hold on to it. So it'll be an infield hit for Gene Segura. Take a look at the rest of the defense. Cameron Maben coming over from the Angels. He will get the start out in center field. We just showed you Correa. Altuve at second base. And Brian McCann, the veteran, will be behind the plate.
Leadoff man aboard for red-hot Mitch Haniger. Haniger 10 for his last 17. 4 hits in yesterday's game. See what Haniger has done recently.
It's just a great sign for the Mariners. Again, moving up, hitting second in the lineup today against the left-hander. Not just getting base hits, but extra base hits. You see the 3 doubles and a couple of home runs for him.
And those 3 wins against the Oakland A's to begin this homestand, the Mariners winning back-to-back 1-run games. No team has been better this year in 1-run games than the Mariners this season. And then yesterday would turn out to be a blowout win.
Which is interesting, because I think that since that has been a strength of theirs, that is something that we're probably going to see. Mitch goes down swinging on the high fastball. That's something that we're probably going to see, especially over this next week. Difficulty of the schedule. I think they're going to play a lot of close games.
Well, they have been the best in the majors this year. And it continues to just be completely fascinating. You look at last season, the Rangers, the all-time greatest winning percentage in 1-run games. And this year they are the worst team in the majors in 1-run contests. I guess it's kind of like bullpens. They don't necessarily transfer over one year to the next.
Yeah, I think every year is different. Look at the Mariners. They played 60 1-run games last year and had a .500 record.
Here's Cano.
That is a lot of one-run games.
That was the most of the majors, no surprise.
I saw a picture of the tracer and the location of that last fastball. You're going to see his fastball right there for the majority of the game, or at least as long as he is in this game. To the right-handers especially. Outside corner at the knees. He will dial that in. Again, we talked about it earlier. One of the best ground ball pitchers in baseball.
Appeal to the check swing. They say that Cano went, and Robbie a little surprised. Say again.
It's going to be a fastball well in off the plate. And I think he's okay right there.
Yeah.
That is not a good call. He was able to hold up.
One out, one on, nothing, and 2 to Cano. He calls for time. Keuchel, as you can imagine, has been nearly impossible left on left this year. Lefties are batting 148 against Dallas Keuchel. Long hold. And Cano down on 3 pitches.
Well, and that's a big reason why. You saw the fastball inside, a couple of fastballs into Robbie. He came back with the curveball. Opponent's hitting just 171 on his breaking ball. The setup away. The curveball is set up because of the 2 fastballs inside. I think that's one of the things that is fun when you watch this game, because Robbie will go back and he'll see that. He'll remember it, and we'll see the adjustments that he makes throughout the game. Nelson Cruz, I think 375 with a couple of home runs against Keuchel.
Nelson not pleased with that call.
Again, talked about that area that he's going to stay in. And if home plate umpire Jim Reynolds is going to give him the pitch that's just off the plate away, especially to the right-handers, it's going to be difficult.
Seager at first base with 2 outs. Past Correa into left field. Mariners with a couple of hits against Dallas Keuchel here in this first inning. Comes with 2 outs. That'll bring up Kyle Seager.
Keuchel trying to get the ground ball, and that's exactly what happens. But Nelson finds a hole on the left side of the infield. High fastball. He wanted that down in the zone. Nelson getting on top of it. Just out of the reach. A lot of top spin on it. Get their first chance to hit with runner in scoring position. Mariners hitting 271 as a team with runners in scoring position this year. Kyle with 19 home runs, 69 RBIs.
First pitch cracked towards Springer, beginning to die, drops in for a base hit. Segura coming around, he scores standing. And so much for lefties having a hard time against Dallas Keuchel. First pitch swing, and Kyle Seager gives the Mariners a 1-0 lead.
Kyle now with 70 RBIs on the year, and really a huge lift for the Mariners. You go up against one of the best pitchers, and if you're able to score on him early, Kyle staying on the breaking ball. We talked about an opponent hitting just 171 on the breaking ball, but early in the count trying to just throw it over for a strike. Kyle lines it out into right field. Really good start for the Mariners. Mentioned it before, Danny Valencia, 444 with 2 home runs against Keuchel as he steps in.
Way outside for ball 1. Cruz at third base, Seager aboard at first. Mariners trying to put up a crooked number against Keuchel here in this first inning. Off the plate, 2-1. More than impressive numbers for Valencia in his career against Keuchel. Over the middle, Correa's been busy early on. Gets rid of it quickly to Altuve. And that'll end the inning. A couple of men are left, but a run is in for the Mariners against Dallas Keuchel and the Astros in early lead. Here today, both up on the mound and at the plate. The Mariners an early 1-0 lead, and Erasmo Ramirez going through the top third of this Astros order pretty cleanly in the first inning. About to start the second. Game 1 of 3 Mariners and the first place Houston Astros. Now for the Astros, Mike, we were looking at this before the game today. This is not a situation where the Astros can just coast to the finish line. They have a comfortable lead in the division, but you look at what the Cleveland Indians are doing right now. The Indians are on fire. They've won 11 in a row entering today, and the Astros to play for the best record in the league, they got to keep winning.
And I think that they will try to do that. I don't think that they'll stop to try to get the best record. It'll be interesting to watch how they manage the starting pitching, especially as they get towards the end of it, but we'll see. Pretty good offensive club if you want to lean on that. For Ramirez, a 1-2-3 first. Again, using his cutter, pretty good changeup. A couple of ground balls to third and a strikeout for him.
Two-1 to Carlos Correa. Makes it 2-2.
One of the things that we saw from Ramirez, mentioned the 4 quality starts in a row for him. That was the change. He was using his fastball more and a slider. He's gone more to the cutter and the changeup. If he throws his fastball, typically it's at the top of the strike zone or out of the strike zone high, just to change their eye level. They come back with something down in the zone, but he's really mixing it up, which is great to see, and it certainly worked well for him. I think the other thing too. Sorry, the other thing too is Houston has not seen him this year. It's just a good fastball at 92 miles an hour. So mixing it up.
Now, Mike, we know so many people with the Astros. We've gotten to know them since they joined the division back in 2013, and we obviously were thinking about them when Hurricane Harvey hit, and the news leading up to Harvey hitting Southeast Texas. And obviously a lot of support for the Astros, not only here today inside the ballpark, but around all of baseball, and support for the city of Houston around the entire country. The Mariners donating $100,000 to the American Red Cross. And A lot of Astros players, well, they all were mentally affected, and many of them were affected with their homes when they finally got back home.
Yeah, it's one of the things that you go through. Obviously, everybody watching it on TV, you see the pictures and how terrible everything is. When you think of the baseball side of it, and it is just a game. But I thought it was interesting to see Houston when they were able to get back into their ballpark and to listen to A.J. Hinch and how emotional that was. And then obviously now getting a chance to see the guys and listen to some of their stories and what they're thinking about. Absolutely. Houston strong. Just a tough time for everybody, including the ball players, because a lot of them, they were out on the road and their families were back home, and it was tough to even stay in contact with them. So a difficult situation for everybody.
Reddick out to right field, and you're able to keep his feet and make the shoestring catch. Second really nice defensive play behind Ramirez. Our Big Fish Casino big catch early on.
And Mitch again with a nice jump. Great concentration to make the backhanded running catch. A couple of feet before it hit the ground. Good defense early in the ball game for the Mariners.
Two outs for Yuli Gurriel. Had a bit of a knee issue, DHing today as a result. Volunteers from the Red Cross, by the way, will be out here at Safeco Field on Wednesday to collect donations, and the Mariners will be matching fan donations collected at the ballpark up to $25,000. One ball and one strike to Gurriel. Nice move by the New York Mets as well.
Yes.
We mentioned that the Astros just swept the Mets. They were scheduled to play a Friday, Saturday, Sunday series for Minute Maid Park, but the Mets agreeing to have Friday's game postponed to a doubleheader on Saturday, and using Friday as a day of service. A number of members of the Mets volunteering at the convention center not far from Minute Maid Park, helping so many displaced residents of Houston and that area with food and shelter, and just trying to be at least somewhat normal in the time being. Gurriel, a shot down by the pole. This is smoked, but a foul ball. Full count. Two outs for this 3-2.
We're seeing it again for Ramirez. 3-2 count. In the past, he probably goes right with his fastball, but a couple of cutters at 86, 85 miles an hour get back into the count. A couple of foul balls.
Into the gap in left center. Heredia having to flag it down on a couple of bounces. And Heredia gets there quickly enough to hold Gurriel to a 2-out single. First hit today for the Astros.
And after a couple of cutters, he's going to go back to his fastball at 92 miles an hour. And this club, again, very aggressive on the fastball, and he barrels it up. Another fine play for the Mariners defense. Is Heredia able to cut it off and hold him to a single.
Two outs, Gurriel aboard for Gonzalez, having a career season. You mentioned the Astros being away from home when Harvey hit. Gonzalez, who is married with 2 kids and his wife 7 months pregnant, their home completely surrounded by water. They were unable to get Mrs. Gonzalez out of the house immediately. Eventually they were able to, but it took some pretty high effort, as you can imagine. Easy pop to Motter in left field. Gurriel stranded, and everybody's thoughts right now with the city of Houston and Southeast Texas. We go to the bottom of the second. Sports is brought to you by Geico. 15 minutes could save you 15% or more on car insurance. And by Steel. To find your local Steel dealer, just visit steeldealers.com. Happy you're with us on a beautiful Labor Day. From inside Safeco Field, here is Mike Zunino to lead things off. Going after the first pitch, strike one. Mike getting yesterday off. Sunday day game, but you look at what Mike Zunino has done since about the midway point in August. He's hitting in the neighborhood of 390. No surprise he's doing it with some pretty considerable pop as well.
21 home runs on the year. Second in the American League as far as catchers go in home runs. Sanchez from New York leading the way. I believe he's at 24 now. He's really been swinging the bat well.
They have the shift on for him. Third strikeout for Keuchel. Now it's worth looking into the schedule the rest of the way for the Mariners and everyone else in the mix, which, as you can see, is a pretty lengthy list for that American League wild card. Mariners do not have an easy run. Only the Rays have a harder schedule the rest of the way among teams fighting for the wild card. And the Twins right now holding down the second wild card. The Twins and the Royals the easiest path, at least in terms of opposing winning percentage. As Heredia digs in. You and I were talking about this the other day, Mike, that you look at the final 10 games of the season for the Twins. 7 of them are against the Tigers, a team that has traded away essentially their 5 best players. And we will see one of them tomorrow.
Yeah. Justin Verlander going to go tomorrow. He's going to start the game. Yeah, it's an interesting thing, but I think for the Mariners, you can look at all these things and try to figure it out and what it means. As far as the players go, they don't consider any of it.
Foul ball called by the home plate umpire.
They're worried about today's game, and right now they have an early lead, which is good to see.
And it's just perfect today. Today the first of 3 Mariners and the Astros. Scott Servais was asked today about Shea Simmons pitching the 9th yesterday. Once that game no longer became a save situation, it means that Diaz got a day off, which was good to see. He had worked back-to-back days. Not that he couldn't work 3 in a row, but better to have a day of rest. Back to Bregman again, this time a fair ball. 2 outs. And Simmons, of course, becoming the 40th different pitcher used by the Mariners this year, which ended up tying an all-time major league record set by the Rangers not long ago, that injury-riddled season of 2014. I'll join the Mariners in EQC for Guys Night Out this Friday versus the Angels for only $40. Fans can score a ticket, a Mariners beanie, and a drink voucher. This special offer is available only at mariners.com/guys.
And how impressed was he with that? 40 pitchers. Is Mel Stottlemyre Jr. around?
I got to thinking
Mel
about.
has had a lot of work to do.
I was thinking about it too from Zunino's side of things.
That's a great point. Yes.
Scott said he doesn't wish that on anyone. And Scott also seemed fairly optimistic that the Mariners may have a chance to break the record by season's end. One ball and 1 strike to Motter.
And Aaron, all of that being said, Simmons looked really good yesterday. Good fastball, 97 miles an hour. Great to see him on the mound. Pretty good breaking ball at 82. Good stuff.
Up and in on Motter. I was trying to figure out his first strikeout in a Mariners uniform came on what at least kind of looked like a 90-mile-an-hour slider. I was trying to figure if that was that. Well, you can see his fastball, as you were saying, was touching 96, 97.
And he threw that pitch a number of times. I'm not sure. And look, everybody, the pitchers will look at it differently. I think when you can talk to Scott about it too, and he will also. But whether it's a slider or a cutter at 90 miles an hour.
Simmons missing, well, this entire season up until yesterday. Was injured in spring training, lengthy rehab process.
We heard a lot about him, and
Absolutely.
we saw 95 to 97 yesterday.
The good folks over at Brooks Baseball categorized that as a cutter for Simmons.
Yeah.
Segura on deck. Weak chopper. Keuchel, a Gold Glove winner, bobbles it, and Motter is aboard. Keuchel, one of the very best at fielding his position. The bobble this time, though, extends the inning.
Swinging bunt off the mound quickly, and you can see that gold patch on the back of his glove, but not able to handle it. Trying to turn around and spin. I think, yep, trying to plant his feet. He knows that Motter runs well. Just misses it. So good speed on the bases for the Mariners.
A rare error on Keuchel. Here is Segura. Single and a run scored back in the first. Slap foul. Keuchel coming off a rough start against the Rangers his last time out. 6 runs over 6 innings. Keeping an eye on Motter. 3 starts prior to that, though, were all quality starts for Dallas Keuchel. There goes Motter. Correa at the bag. Motter gets another steal. His 12th in 13 tries.
And a pretty good jump, going to slide and grab the back corner of the bag. Makes it a longer tag. See Correa trying to make the tag, but Motter clearly in there.
Worth noting, that is only the 3rd steal this year against Keuchel. Bregman stays with it, gathers, low throw, but it's dug out by Gonzalez at first base to end the inning. Runner left in scoring position, 2 innings complete. Erasmo Ramirez getting the start today, his 7th this season in a Mariners uniform since coming over from Tampa Bay, and so far so good for Ramirez. A couple of scoreless innings, just 1 hit, a single. Mariners leading 1-0. They'll face Brian McCann, the catcher, to begin the Astros 3rd. Evens it up 1-1. We were talking about all the pitchers used for the Mariners, and we'll see what Scott Service decides to do in the Angels series. We saw Marco Gonzalez pitch very well in long relief the other day. 4 scoreless innings. It'll be interesting to see if he ends up claiming a spot in the rotation if Giovanni Gallardo ends up being moved to the bullpen. 80 pitches over 3 innings for Gallardo, his last start. But imagine for a second that swap happens, right? That Gonzalez goes into the rotation for the Mariners. Into the corner towards right field, but a foul ball. That would mean, Mike, that 4 of the Mariners' 5 starting pitchers, with the outlier being Miranda, were with another team at the All-Star break.
Yeah.
Think about that for a second. That's incredible.
It is incredible. Yep. As Scott said, wouldn't wish it on
anybody else. Yeah. Mike Leake, of course, just coming over. Gonzalez coming over also from the Cardinals organization. Albers from the Braves. 3rd strikeout today. Nice start so far for Erasmo Ramirez. Take a look at our CenturyLink What's Next. Tomorrow, middle game of the series. And it'll be Ariel Miranda on the mound for the Mariners. He is the one outlier of the crew we were just talking about, the one guy to make every start so far this year for the Mariners. And it'll be an exciting day for the Astros and their fan base. Justin Verlander making his Astros debut. Still odd to see him in something other than a Tigers hat. I'm sure he probably feels the same way.
That's the other part of it too. You just mentioned it with Miranda. Take a look at Verlander. But with Miranda making every one of the starts, originally he wasn't even supposed to be in the rotation.
Yes.
And he's the one that has.
That's another footnote. Maben also a new addition for the Astros. A waiver claim placed on waivers by the Angels. He's been their primary leadoff hitter this year. First year in Anaheim, but the acquisition of Justin Upton made Maben not quite as needed. Mariners will be seeing the Angels coming up on this homestand. Check swing and appeal. He goes 2-2.
Maben 2nd in the American League in stolen bases. So you want to keep him off the bases. If we take a look at the swing.
Strike 3 called. Maben knows it at the knees. Back-to-back punch-outs to open up the 3rd. Well, the Mariners host the Astros on Wednesday at 7:10, and following the game, Cedar Grove is providing 5,000 fans with a bag of soil to help tend to your home garden. Visit a Mariners team store or mariners.com for tickets. Here it's Springer who looks at ball 1. Jeff Luhnow, by the way, the general manager for the Astros, saying that they got the trade for Verlander in with 2 seconds to spare before the deadline. 2 seconds. Tigers in full rebuild mode, getting quite the haul of prospects. and shedding a lot of the payroll as well.
Talking about the Astros, and they just don't strike out much, but already 4 strikeouts for Ramirez.
A few strikeouts in the majors. You're right. It's been a huge turnaround this year for the Astros.
It's typically because they're so aggressive. They try to put the ball in play early.
Right over the heart of the plate, 3-1. Bregman would be next. Healthy hack and a miss there from Springer. Ramirez a chance for his 5th strikeout. The payoff to Springer. He's got a piece. In play up the middle for a base hit. A second straight inning, a 2-out single for the Astros. Last one did no harm. And here is Bregman. Bregman, the former #2 overall pick out of LSU. Which means when you look at this left side of the infield for the Astros, they have a #2 overall pick at third and a #1 overall pick at short in Correa. Springer does not run much. 5 steals. He's been caught 7 times.
Houston, and they are 4th in the American League in stolen bases. But you also have to consider Altuve leading the league with 31, Maben second with 30.
Altuve on deck. Only run of this game belonging to the Mariners, coming on a Kyle Seager base hit into right field. And that was in the first. We played the third. Ramirez now facing the order the second time. 4 strikeouts and 1 hit the first time through the order. And very preoccupied with George Springer. Evens up 2-2. Astros happy that the calendar has flipped past August. 11-17 last month. Their first losing month of the season. Still 2-2. You look at the pitching and the hitting numbers for the Astros in August. They averaged exactly 4 runs a game. They had a staff ERA of exactly 4. Ramirez would rather not face Altuve with a couple of men on base. Tying run at first, that's Springer. Gets them swinging. Ramirez strikes out the side in the 3rd. Mariners have a 1-run lead. We go to the bottom half. We'll be seeing Mitch Haniger when we get there. On a beautiful day like this. Take a look at the Mariners calendar, brought to you by Mattress Firm. Today the first of 3 against the Astros. A day off for the guys on Thursday, and then the homestand continuing. This will be a really good series coming up on Friday here from Safeco Field. 3 games against the suddenly new look Angels. First pitch in play off the bat of Haniger to Carlos Correa. Quick out number 1. You know, it's not too often that the August 31st deadline is maybe as exciting, if not more so, than the July 31st deadline. But there were a ton of moves made, big moves on the final day of August. We talked about Verlander. Look at the Angels, though. We'll be seeing Brandon Phillips at the top of their order. We'll be seeing Justin Upton in left field. 2 huge positions of need for the Angels. They're able to get on the final day of August. First pitch to strike to Cano.
We've talked about it a lot. I mean, teams, especially in the American League with the wild card, and all the teams that are in the middle of this thing trying to separate themselves. And I'm always amazed at how many guys actually are able to clear waivers. That's what it takes at that point, right?
Altuve, a backhand from the grass. 2 outs.
You start looking at some of the names, and it's pretty amazing.
I'll take advantage of one of the best deals in baseball, the Safeco Insurance Triple Play Ticket Package. Score a ticket, a hot dog, and a Pepsi or beer for as low as $26. The next event is Wednesday against the Astros. Secure both your savings and seat at mariners.com/specials. Because of payroll, Mike?
I think that's a big reason why. It used to be that it was tough to get guys through waivers because other teams would claim them just so that another team would not get them. I don't think that's necessarily the case anymore. I think that, you know, contracts and payroll and a lot of those things obviously are in the middle of it. So, but you always find some pretty good players that make it through. Nelson Cruz with a base hit his last time. Ground ball through the left side of the infield.
Softly hit center field. Speaking of a guy who cleared waivers, Cameron Maven, new face in Houston, makes the catch side, sat down in order for the first time today for Dallas Keuchel. Tickets, find a local agent at Safeco.com. Do more. And by Clearwater Casino, so many reasons to come out and play. The corner of First and University. No other day does the Hammerin' Man get so much airtime than on Labor Day when he is motionless. On to the fourth. Mariners lead the Astros 1-0 on an RBI base hit by Kyle Seager. Jose Altuve leads it off for the Astros.
Ramirez with 5 strikeouts.
On the first pitch, low pick, cut of the grass, Kyle Seager.
And I think we're going to see a lot more of that. I think Houston will be very aggressive. Ramirez around the strike zone. Pitch count a little bit high, but they want to be aggressive. That will certainly help.
And speaking of that, along the lines regarding yesterday's game, how about all the foul balls off of Albers? And we saw a lot of them coming right over the screen. That was a consistent theme every inning, it seemed like.
It really was.
Another first pitch swinging. Heredia's got space. 2 pitches, 2 outs.
And the thing about it is through 5 innings, he hadn't given up a hit. But then you start looking at the pitch count, and it was so high that I'm not sure there was any way that he was going to be able to finish. He ends up giving up the 1 hit in the 6th inning. But if that had continued because of so many foul balls, what was going to happen?
Let's just say that the first batter of the game was a sign of things to come. Marcus Semien, 11 pitch at bat. Little did we know that that would be a bit of a trend. But Matt Chapman, the number 6 hitter for the A's yesterday, their young third baseman, his first 2 at bats, 19 pitches, went 0 for 2. A lot of foul balls. 1 ball and 1 strike to Reddick. Reddick out earlier on a really nice running catch by Haniger in right field. Softly hit and to left. Mater covering some ground. Side sacked down in order on 5 pitches. We take a look at our Geico this date in big league history. Back in 2002, former Coug Scott Hatteberg walk-off home run extends the A's winning streak to an American League record of 20 in a row. They walked off the previous 2 games as well, by the way. 3 consecutive walk-off wins. Wins 18, 19, and 20 in that incredible run for the A's. The Moneyball A's. They'd blown an 11-run lead before the walk-off homer. But they got it. Here is Seager. Like, you've got an interesting perspective on that because you were kind of right before that era, right?
With Oakland?
Yeah, with Oakland.
Yes. When I was there, Ben Grieve, I believe, was just the Rookie of the Year. Chavez was called up that year. Tejada, the shortstop. A.J. Hinch, manager of the Astros, was catching for that team. A lot of talent there, but it was right after that is when the pitching started to show up. When you talk about Hudson, Zito, Mulder, yeah, that group of guys.
One and two on Seager, leading off the bottom of the fourth.
Kyle, the hitting stars so far, driven in the 1 run.
You kind of even up the infield now with 2 strikes. Altuve a few feet deep in right field.
I don't know if it's just because the hitters are used to it. Talk about the shift and the position players changing. Correa at the start was over on the right side in the shift. And as Keuchel was looking in and starting his motion, he ran over to the other side of the diamond. I don't think as a hitter that would be distracting the guys that are up the middle, whether it's the third baseman or the shortstop or wherever you're going to put them. It's rare that you see them call timeout and let them reposition themselves.
Valencia with 1 out. Keuchel working his first clean inning in the 3rd. Was able to work around an error of his own with 2 outs in the 2nd. Hard hit ground ball. Correa's been pretty busy early on today. Strong throw to first base for round number 2. On the ground ball outs, no surprise. Facing Dallas Keuchel. Well, not a big surprise. The Mariners making some roster moves today, claiming a couple of guys off of waivers from the Cubs. Frankoff, the pitcher, does not sound like we will probably be seeing him this year. Hanneman, however, the outfielder, there's a chance that we see him at some point. And David Phelps placed on the 60-day disabled list. We saw Zach Curtis briefly earlier this year in relief, designated for assignment. Phelps done for the season. The shift was on, and Zunino goes the opposite way. 2-out single for Mike.
It's good hitting. Fastball sinking away from him on the outside corner. Talked about how hot he has been. Head right on it. Never moved.
First pitch ball to Guillermo Heredia. Bregman charges. Out number 3. Zunino with that 2-out single is left stranded. 4 innings in the books. And the Mariners leading Dallas Keuchel and the Astros by a run. How about we take a look at our Columbia Bank difference of the game? It is today's starting pitcher for the Mariners, Erasmo Ramirez.
He has been really good through 4 innings, going up against the best offense in the American League. We talked about the numbers at the beginning. First in average, first in runs, slugging, opponent's batting average, on base percentage. Really good. A pretty good cut fastball today. Mixed in his changeup with it. His fastball at 91-92.
Facing Gurriel, the DH today for the Astros to begin the 5th. Clubbed high left field and a ton of trouble as this game is tied. That was crunched. Gurriel's second hit of the day, and we are even at 1. Gurriel's 16th on the season.
And then we'll take a look at the pitch. Set it down and away. It looked like a slider at 81 miles an hour. He hasn't thrown many sliders this afternoon. Basically stayed with his cutter.
First pitch, Marwin Gonzalez puts it in play. Valencia a sliding stop. Erasmo to the bag in plenty of time. 1 out as we go back to the home run that this gentleman caught.
Yeah, pretty good catch.
That's pretty impressive. One out, a run in, and a tied game for Brian McCann. First year for McCann in Houston. Coming over after 3 years of the Yankees. Not sure if McCann can get to it at this point. He's got 13 home runs. But he's looking for his 10th consecutive 20 home run season, and he's never had a 100 strikeout season.
Yeah, at this point it seems unlikely that that will happen.
Haniger at the wall, and he's a home run closer. Back-to-back shots. McCann's 14th. Pardon me, Gonzalez the ground out on the first pitch. Second home run this inning. And it's now 2-1 Astros. So Gurriel out to left, McCann out to right.
And for Ramirez, he's come down to location. The breaking ball in the middle of the plate. Now you can see that pitch right in the middle of the plate, also just above the belt. Such a terrific job through the first 4 innings, staying out of the middle of the plate. Mentioned Houston was going to be aggressive.
Here's Maben. Pretty impressive when you look at the slugging percentage this year for the Astros, how it ranks all time top 5, right in front of the 1997 Mariners. Just by a tick. 2-0 on Maben now. And that even speaks more to the point, Mike, how surprising and how impressive it is that the Astros are last in the majors in strikeouts with one of the all-time great slugging marks.
Again, they're so aggressive early in counts, and Zepchenski getting loose in the pen. They're so aggressive. A lot of times it's difficult to even get to 2 strikes on them.
4-pitch walk to the number 9 hitter.
Stottlemyre Jr. on his way out to the mound. Keep an eye on Maven at first base. He is second in the American League with 30 stolen bases.
Ramirez had not allowed multiple base runners in any of the first 4 innings. He's allowed 2 home runs here in the 5th. And now a walk to Maven. One out, 1 on for Springer.
Another dangerous hitter, leadoff man. 31 home runs on the year. A base hit, line drive into center field his last time up.
They appealed on to first base. He does not go. One and 1. Keeping an eye on Maven and those 30 steals. Valencia dancing into the coach's box. 2 away. Take a look at our CenturyLink What's Next tomorrow night, the middle game of this 3-game series. We're on the air at 6:30 for a 7:10 start. Justin Verlander will be making his Astros debut. The Mariners saw him earlier this year with the Tigers, of course. Ariel Miranda, start number 28, will try to keep the Astros at the ballpark tomorrow. The only guy to make every turn in the rotation this year for the Mariners. Look at the last turn in the rotation. Now the Mariners had 3 of the 5 starters go at least 6 innings. As you can see, Hayes and Angels just tied up at 9. Angels entering today. Game and a half outside of the Twins for the second wild card, tied with the Orioles. Mariners a game behind those 2 clubs. Seager going back. Now to his left. That ends the inning, but some damage done by the Astros. Couple of home runs. Yuli Gurriel tying things up, number 16 of the season. And then it was Brian McCann, his 14th, to give the Astros a 1-run lead. home half. Get Sounder train and Link light rail tickets right to your phone. Riding is easy with Sound Transit Go Ticket app. Motter leads it off for the Mariners and stares at a strike. And on the hands, Bregman right by the bag. Another ground ball out. Last 4 have all been on the ground.
And he's starting to get a good feel for it. That sinking fastball and his changeup away. All the right-handed hitters in the lineup for the Mariners today. A couple of lefties, Cano and Seager, so 7 right-handed hitters.
Really pretty amazing how quickly a career can turn around for Dallas Keuchel. If you go back the end of spring training 2014, Keuchel did not know truly whether or not he would make the opening day rotation for the Astros or if he would begin the season in AAA. He had to fight to become the Astros #5 starter that year. The next year, 2015, he was the Astros opening day starter. And then would start the All-Star game that year. Going to win a Cy Young, multiple Gold Gloves. Two and one now to Segura. Now, that is a pretty awesome jersey.
Ready for a race around the bases.
Camera is all yours.
There you go.
Happy Labor Day to Altuve.
And another pitch at the bottom of the strike zone, and for Keuchel just going back and forth with his fastball and his changeup.
7 of the last 8 outs have been on the ground. Haniger a ground ball out back in the 3rd.
Keuchel, his average fastball 89 miles an hour, but again its location and movement causes problems for hitters. We talked about him being one of the better ground ball pitchers in the game. We're certainly seeing that this afternoon.
Mike, we've seen a definite difference lately for Mitch Haniger at the plate. What have you noticed?
Well, it was interesting after the 4 hits last night. I heard him on the post-game show, and he was talking about an adjustment that he made, and basically what he was talking about is the barrel of the bat, that he felt it was too flat when he was getting set, so he just wanted to get the barrel a little bit more upright, and you can see that right there. It's not as flat as it was. Talking to Edgar before he was starting to get hot, and just asking him some things, they were talking about his stride and trying to soften things up so he doesn't get too far out there, and you can see he's kind of spread out a little bit outside his shoulders. But I think, again, it comes down to just trying to find a way to slow the game down. And if on your stride, if you're hitting on that front foot, if you're landing firmly with it, a lot of times that'll move your head around. You're kind of jumping at the pitcher. And I think because he's missed so much time and been back and forth with the disabled list, it's caused some problems for him. But now he's starting to settle down.
Keuchel retires his side in order for the 2nd time through 5 innings. Astros have the lead as we go to the 6th. First 4 innings awfully smooth. Just a couple of hits, both singles, and 5 strikeouts. A little bit of a stumble in the 5th, however. 2 home runs, Gurriel and McCann. That has given the Astros a 2-1 lead as we start the 6th.
A couple of solo home runs you mentioned, Aaron, but I think if you would have gone to Scott Servais through 5, Ramirez will have given up a couple of runs. I think he would have taken that when you consider the offense that he's up against. This will be an important inning for him. He's right in the middle of the lineup here. Altuve, Correa, and Reddick due up. He is now at 81 pitches.
Two 2-0. Altuve, a fun piece of baseball trivia. He is the only player to ever represent the same team in the All-Star game in both leagues. Represented the Astros in the All-Star game in their final year in the National League in 2012, and has obviously been an All-Star multiple times for Houston since joining the American League in 2013. Heredia chasing this one back in front of the track. 1 down. Finding out from Scott Servais today as we look at Heredia, reminding us of Gerard Dyson. Dyson still trying to come back from tweaking that groin a little bit the other day, and they're still optimistic that we will be seeing Dyson at some point sooner rather than later. Scott making the point that in terms of running, base running in particular, that an 80% Gerard Dyson is better than 100% most guys. Strong throw from Seager to get his counterpart at first base.
I just think that he brings so much to the club, more than base running. I think you really have to get him back, but you want him back healthy too, because the biggest part of his game is the ability to cover the ground in the outfield, really play center field well, as you see Pazos getting loose and the problems he causes on the bases. So it's important to get him back, but get him back healthy.
5 days off for Pazos. It's been a while since we've seen him. 2 outs facing Josh Reddick. Reddick in his first year with Houston, the highest priced free agent signing in Astros history, and having a fantastic year. Ruled ball 2. Off the home plate umpire. That catches Jim Reynolds. Veteran umpire in his 18th season. A walk to extend the inning. Second walk today from Erasmo. .91 pitches now, and Gurriel coming up, the man who tied this game up with a home run. Here comes Mel.
And for Ramirez, 91 pitches overall. Pazos getting loose in the pen. On deck will be Gonzalez, a switch hitter, and then a left-handed hitter in McCann, who's homered in the game after that. So I think Pazos is getting ready for those two.
Tim Bogar, Scott Brocious talking things over. Gurriel 2 for 2 today, entered today batting .293. First pitch strike. Ramirez falling behind 2-1 now. How's just warmed up and ready. Down in towards the corner, but a foul ball. Now if Ramirez can get one more out to finish off this 6th inning, he would have his 5th consecutive quality start. Only James Paxton has had a longer string of quality starts this year by a Mariners starting pitcher with 9. Softly popped up into shallow right field. Haniger underneath. 5 straight quality starts for Erasmo Ramirez, giving up just 2 runs over 6 innings against the Astros. Baseball on Root Sports is brought to you by Money Tree, proud to make a donation to Mariners Care for every Mariners win. By Jack in the Box, come try the new Smoky Jack Burger or Chicken Sandwich, limited time only. By CenturyLink, connecting you to the power of the digital world. And by BNSF Railway, sponsor of the BNSF Blast. All right, who's going to win it? Hydro race going on inside Safeco Field. Are we going to make it, or is Keuchel going to throw a pitch? Oh. Killing me, Dallas. All right, here we go. Of course, green hydro all the way. Robbie leads it off in the bottom of the 6th. One hop right to the belly of Altuve. Now the Eagles and Doobie Brothers are coming right here to Safeco Field on Saturday, September 30th for a unique rock and roll doubleheader. Tickets are on sale now for the Classic Northwest at Ticketmaster.com. All right, Mike, well, we've mentioned that Keuchel, no surprise, keeping everything on the ground. What is making him so tough right now?
I think there's a couple of things. One, we talked about at the beginning, the location, and we showed it on the tracer. Down and away to the right-handers. His fastball today has been 88 to 90 with some sink to it. But I think more importantly, it's been his changeup at 80 miles an hour, and he is really selling it today. His arm speed is excellent on it. There's another fastball at the bottom of the strike zone, right in that general area is why he gets so many ground ball outs. But the changeup is the problem. And seeing a lot of ground ball outs today, which is what he does. And I think just at the beginning of the game, we saw some mistakes that were up. And the Mariners were able to take advantage of that. When you look at this game so far, the Mariners with 4 hits and the 1 run, but 3 of those hits in the first inning.
Only fly ball out was to Nelson Cruz.
And he just does not throw many pitches in the middle of the plate. If he makes a mistake, it's going to be off the edges of the plate. And if you're aggressive, you're going to get yourself out.
Two and two.
Nelson almost lost the bat. Maybe slipped a little bit. I see him looking at his hand. And this isn't just the Mariners. He came into the game with a 2.91 ERA and one of the best pitchers in the American League.
Another ground ball chopping to Altuve, who was swung over. This copyrighted telecast is presented by authority of the Seattle Mariners and may not be reproduced or retransmitted in any form. The accounts and descriptions of this game may not be disseminated without the express written consent of the Seattle Mariners. Now Kyle Seager has driven in the only run for the Mariners today. That was way back in the first. Cracked out towards right center field. Hammered deep, and this is gone. Tied game. Seager goes deep for the 20th time this season.
Well, we were just talking about Keuchel not making many mistakes. This is a fastball right in the middle of the plate. And when he makes a mistake, you can't afford to miss it. And Kyle doesn't. He squares it up. Aaron mentioned his 20th home run on the year. Already 30 doubles. And pretty strong. Able to hold up Nelson Cruz.
Now, a couple things to consider. First of all, to revisit a point from earlier on in this game. Lefties batting 148 against Keuchel. That is the 3rd left-on-left home run that he's surrendered. That's it. Springer tracking this down, able to make the catch. Chin high to end the inning. Kyle Seager, his 6th consecutive 20 home run season, every full year in the majors for the Mariners' third baseman. Erasmo Ramirez off the hook as he spins a quality start today. Fine work for Erasmo, his 5th consecutive quality start. We take a look at his final line.
6 innings, 4 hits, couple of runs. They were earned, 2 solo home runs, 2 walks, 5 strikeouts, 96 pitches, 56 strikes.
Meanwhile, our Beacon Plumbing call to the pen. The lefty Mark Stepchinski on the hill for the Mariners.
55 appearances on the year, a 3.1 ERA, 24 strikeouts, over 17 walks. Opponent hitting .231. Sinking fastball at 92 miles an hour, slider, occasional changeup.
Consider this, Mike. Kyle Seager, that left on left home run. Since the start of 2015, that's now 30 home runs against lefties for Seager. And you look at where that ranks recently. Cano 24, Rizzo 24, Joey Votto 22, Chris Davis, Crush Davis 21. There is nobody better left on lefts in terms of home runs since 2015 in the major leagues than that man Kyle Seager.
That was going to be the next step for Kyle, getting a chance to play every day and putting up numbers and being consistent, but hitting left-handers was going to be the last thing I thought for him. And you mentioned the power numbers, not a problem for him anymore.
Becoming the 4th Mariner this year with 20 home runs. Zunino the most recent before Kyle today.
It's one of the things too with Kyle, and look at it. He continues to move on in his career as a Seattle Mariner, but he's starting to put together some numbers that's separating him or getting him much higher up on the list across the board as a Mariner. Career numbers.
Well, you're very right about that. But on the other hand, as this is smoked in towards the gap in right center, Heredia takes it out of the grass. And I don't mean to belittle what you just said at all, Mike. I don't think he's ever going to reach left on left home runs in Mariners history. I think that's pretty untouchable.
Been the highest vote getter of all time. Yeah.
He's got a good chance to become the 2nd most in franchise history, though. I'll give him that.
He'll take it. Nick Vincent getting loose in the pen.
Leadoff man aboard for McCann, who homered back in the 5th. That gave the Astros a temporary lead. That's ruled ball 1. It's a strike of the knees that time. 1 ball to 1 strike to McCann. Outfield straight away, infield over the shift. In the 11th now in Oakland, after the A's tied that up in the 9th. There goes Gonzalez. A throw down to Seager, trying to hold the tag. Gonzalez is in at second base with nobody out.
And that will be a wild pitch. Like a breaking ball in the dirt. Mike able to block it. But a pretty good jump by Gonzalez to get into second. So he saw it in the dirt, did not hesitate, took off right away.
Go ahead, run in scoring position. Speaking of that Angels score, we've talked about Upton going to Anaheim.
Yep.
Brandon Phillips as well. Add this to the list. Tomorrow, Garrett Richards is set to rejoin that rotation. He made one start this year, exited because of a bicep injury, did not throw until after the All-Star break. They have to build him up. He'll be built up in game, so to speak. But when Richards is right, he is about as nasty as they come, about as filthy of a power sinker as there is.
Well, I think even if it takes him a couple of starts to get him right, they'll be thrilled with whatever they can get from him. They've had their issues in their rotation also.
Absolutely. 3 starters in the disabled list for Mike Scioscia. Gonzalez at second base after the single and then the wild pitch as Zunino goes out to talk shop with Subchinski. Lost him. 8-pitch walk. Well, this Sunday the Mariners and Sounders both take on division foes. Emerald City sports fans can catch the Mariners game and the Sounders match for $50, plus get a special edition doubleheader t-shirt. For details, visit mariners.com/Sounders. Here comes Scott Service. They've got a pitching change. 2 on, nobody out here in the 7th.
Hi everybody, Angie Banting here at the Ford Sports Desk. They say today is the unofficial end of summer. Nobody seems to have told Mother Nature that here in the Northwest because it has been absolutely gorgeous and it'll continue to be. Sarah checks in with this photo using the hashtag #WhereIRoot. Mariners game to wrap up this spectacular weekend of fun. And we've got this one from Brendan. Brendan, Labor Day baseball with Lindsay. Remember to use that hashtag #WhereIRoot presented by Alaska Airlines and we'll try to get your photo on the air. And Sherry checks in with this one. First Mariner game for my French exchange student. Ooh la la. Oui? That's about all I got. Use that hashtag #WhereIRoot presented by Alaska Airlines. Guys, back to you.
Hey, not bad, Angie. Thank you. Here is Nick Vincent working for the second straight day.
A 1.87 ERA for Nick, 4th lowest amongst relievers in the American League. He's really pitched well.
He's been incredible, and he has been especially good inheriting runners. He inherits 2 here. Nobody out. Maben showing bunt. Fouls it away.
Both Seager and Valencia in at the corners. For Nick Vincent, his fastball will be at 90 miles an hour, cutter at 87, 88, and a slider. He'll try to keep the ball down and away to the right-handers. He will elevate his fastball with a couple of strikes.
Vincent picks it up, takes the out at first base. Gonzalez into third, McCann to second. May have been giving himself up, one down.
And they're going to put Springer on.
Well, yesterday when Vincent was up on the mound with one out and a chance for double play to end the inning, we had noticed that he had only had 4 double plays turned behind him all year. A fly ball pitcher, and when he really needed it, was able to dial one up.
Well, he needs it again. Middle of the infield will move back. They were playing in.
Strike one.
There's the cut fastball to the outside corner.
Altavilla getting loose now.
Altavilla getting loose in the pen.
Valencia's head and into right field. Gonzalez scoring, McCann rounding, Haniger trying to stay with it. 2 runs cross, 2 in scoring position, and the Astros lead it 4-2.
And just going to go with another cutter. Cutter off the plate. Pretty good pitch. Bregman just going the other way with it and try to pull it. And for Nick, he is trying to throw it off the outside corner, see if he can get him to roll over on it and get the ground ball so he could have the double play to get out of the inning. But Bregman, pretty good hitting.
Looked like Haniger had a bobble here in the corner. Yep, there it is. It's a double all the way. No error has been given on this, as now they put Altuve on.
Second intentional walk of the inning.
Well, elsewhere, remember the Angels leading the Mariners by a game in the wild card hunt. They have taken a 2-run lead now in the bottom of the 11th in the Coliseum. Bases loaded for Correa. Correa returning yesterday was on the disabled list for nearly 50 days because of a ligament injury in his thumb. Oh, 2. Gets him on 3 pitches. That is a critical out, number 2.
We talked a lot about his cutter, but again with 2 strikes, he's going to elevate the fastball at 90 miles an hour, probably just up out of the strike zone. Ties him up with it.
Now facing the left-handed bat of Josh Reddick. Bases still loaded, 2 outs. Springer at third base, Bregman the 2-run double at second. Altuve intentionally walked, leads off of first. first base, 1-2.
A couple of cut fastballs in on his hands. Last one at 88 miles an hour.
Vincent's 1-2. Already breaking on it quickly to the gap. Can't get there. Runs coming in. Springer scores. Bregman is behind him, throwing to third base. Altuve safe to second, safe there as well. They check in on Altuve at third again. A 4-run inning. And for the first time of this year, Vincent has allowed a run at home. Inherited runners is one thing, runs of his own, this time the first time.
And just trying to get it right back in on his hands again with the cutter. This time he leaves it in the middle of the plate. He jammed him a little bit, inside out swing. Yeah, he gets it to the label, but he fights it off into left center field.
Scott will use his third different pitcher this inning. Damage has been done by the Astros as they've taken a 6-2 lead. Here comes Dan Altavilla. MLB.tv every night, every device. Watch all out-of-market regular season games live. Plus, get a free subscription to AtBat Premium, the #1 app for live baseball. Blackout and other restrictions apply. Visit MLB.tv for details. A pleasant night inside Safeco Field, but not on the scoreboard. The Astros have taken the lead as now we take a look at Dan Altavilla.
For Dan, 31 appearances on the year, ERA just over 5, 40 strikeouts and 34 2/3. Opponent sitting 265. Good fastball, mid to upper 90s. Hard slider.
Couple of hits today for Gurriel, including a home run.
Good fastball, 98 miles an hour.
Last time we saw Altavilla, that was in the Bronx against the Yankees. Some longer relief, 3 innings in the final days of August. I bring the game up in part, Mike, because as we've seen touch triple digits, he got some swings and misses on some pretty veteran Yankees hitters that made them look like they were back in the minors. I mean, he really had them guessing.
Nobody's questioned his stuff. Again, he has a plus slider too. It's just being able to command the strike zone.
Simple as that. This one popped up at 98. Cano charge it in. Out number 3. 4 runs in, however, for the Astros as they have taken a 6-2 lead. Will stay right here for God Bless America.
Ladies and gentlemen, before we sing "Take Me Out to the Ball Game" here on this Labor Day afternoon, we ask that you please rise and direct your attention to home plate. Presenting God Bless America, please welcome back from Olympia, Washington, James Geiger.
God bless America, land that I love. Stand beside her and guide her through the night with the light from above. From the mountains to the prairies to the oceans white with foam. God bless America, my home, sweet home. God bless America, my home, sweet home.
Stretch your imagination like never before. Play today. Astros have taken the lead, a 4th spot in the top of the 7th. We go to the home half. 6-2 Houston. Today, game 1 of 3. Mariners coming off a 3-game sweep of the Oakland A's to begin this homestand. Meanwhile, the Astros winning 4 in a row entering today, including a sweep of their own against the Mets. Shift is on for Mike Zunino to begin things in the home 7th.
For Keuchel, just 74 pitches, 51 strikes. Just a couple of fly ball outs for Keuchel today.
Found off the hands, 1-1.
Pretty good sinking fastball with the changeup. Used his breaking ball much. Houston's outfield playing deep. May have been center fielder shading towards left center.
Angels still leading in the bottom of the 11th from Oakland. Angels a game lead over the Mariners of the wild card chase. They're a game and a half outside of the Twins. You know, when you watch Keuchel today, and we remember his Cy Young year from 2 years ago, when you think about Cy Young favorites in the league this year, it appears to be a two-horse race between Chris Sale and Corey Kluber, and the numbers for both those guys have just been remarkable this year. And I couldn't believe it. We know how accomplished Chris Sale is. We saw him this year, one of the very best. 2-2 coming to Zunino. There's out number one.
There's a good changeup again. Been an excellent pitch for him.
Sale actually got roughed up last night in New York against the Yankees, and Mike, for the first time in his career, Chris Sale gave up back-to-back home runs. Yes,
in his career.
In his career.
Really?
I know it might have been last year. Kershaw did that for the very first time. Well, that's pretty amazing.
That's amazing.
Right back over the mound and into center field. Guillermo Heredia is aboard.
Where you like to look at these things when you start talking about Cy Young Award? How important are strikeouts as you take another look at the swing by Heredia? It's a pitch in the middle of the plate, it's right back up the middle. And the reason why I asked that is because you mentioned a couple of the pitchers. Sale obviously over 200 strikeouts. Kluber gets his share. Coming into this game, Keuchel with 97. So he's halfway there. So how much better does he have to be for him to wrestle it from those guys?
Well, I'll tell you, as we see a final in 11, Angels over the A's. You go back, Mike, 2014. In my eyes, I'm biased obviously, but in my eyes, the only argument that Kluber had over Felix was strikeouts. It was the only thing he had better than the King that year. And I think it surprised everyone, even Corey Kluber, that he won the Cy Young that year. And not because he had a bad year at all, but Felix was just that good. But Kluber that season, 269 strikeouts, by far and away his career best.
But how many did Felix have? Felix that year, every year it seemed that he was over 200 strikeouts, and so at that point you're talking about 20, 30 strikeouts over the course of an entire season. Okay, that's one area for Kluber, but the rest of it was certainly Felix. And it wasn't as if Felix wasn't striking guys out.
Roughly speaking, 20 more strikeouts.
Yeah. So he was what, 240 or
248. Yep.
248. So there you go.
You know what's really upsetting about that, by the way? There was an A's writer who voted for Kluber. I mean, come on, right? And I don't think that, I could double check this, but I remember looking it up at the time. I don't think that Kluber even faced the A's that year.
And Felix probably dominated them all
year. Yeah, just
year.
threw his glove on the mound and went 7 scoreless.
Right.
Anyway. Thanks for asking about the strikeouts. Mater a walk, 2 on 1 out. Join us tomorrow during the Mariners game for another round of Twitter Tuesday. Great people will follow. It's okay. You'll have 5 chances to win exciting prizes just by interacting with us on Twitter throughout the game. We'll be posting questions and of course want to hear from you. So be sure to watch and follow us on Twitter at RootSports_NW. For giveaway rules, visit us at rootsports.com. Our CenturyLink What's Next tomorrow. Ariel Miranda, Justin Verlander.
Speaking of strikeouts, nobody getting loose in Houston's pen. 86 pitches now. E.J. Hinch, the manager, he's going to go with Keuchel. We talked about it a little bit before the game. With Houston having the doubleheader on Saturday. And they played again yesterday. We were wondering what kind of shape their bullpen was going to be in.
Francis Martes warming up. We've seen him both in the rotation and in relief this year. 2-0 to Seager. Well, this is the first time since the first inning the Mariners have had multiple base runners in a frame against Keuchel. Called a strike. And played out Altuve. Correa on to first, double play, and the threat comes to a close. Hinch sticks with Keuchel, who picks up his 18th double play ball of the season.
Look at Mount Baker Park on Lake Washington, and don't worry, everybody there at this park has their clothes on. Hey, Taylor, spending the day with the man who taught him his love for the game of baseball. The hashtag to use is Where I Root, presented by Alaska Airlines. When you use that hashtag, it gives us permission to use your photo on the air. Aaron, back to you.
Okay, thank you, Angie. Here's Marwin Gonzalez. Altavilla up on the mound. Missing with the first pitch.
So far, Dan has topped out at 100 miles an hour. Pretty good fastball. Get out of the 7th inning.
Four-run 7th inning to give the Astros the lead. Still 1-2. And one thing we don't think about when we talk about all the pitchers being used this year for the Mariners is how that has affected the minors, and particularly Tacoma.
Yeah.
And the same story when the Rangers had that 2014 season. Just off the tick of the glove of Segura. Gonzalez gets a hit on a 98-mile-an-hour fastball. Leadoff base hit. But coming up this fall on Root Sports is Beacon Plumbing High School football. Tune in Thursday to see the Kennedy Lancers versus the Juanita Rebels. 7 p.m. Pacific. Don't miss the action this season on Root Sports. Brought to you by Beacon Plumbing, Heating, and Electrical. Stop freaking, call Beacon. You know, when the Rangers, set the all-time DL record and players used record in 14, when they also set the pitchers used record. At that point, Steve Buechele, who is now their bench coach, was managing their AAA team, and he has said to us before, if you thought it was bad in Texas, you should have seen it in Round Rock with the amount of players that he was using.
Not bad.
But we were looking through the minor league report the other day, and the minor league stats that Kelly Monroe, the baseball information department, does such a good job putting together along with some of her peers. And we were trying to find the Rainiers pitching stats page, and we couldn't find it until we realized that it had its own page. Normally the hitters and the pitchers share a page, but for the Rainiers this year they had to have a whole page dedicated just to the arms. Gomez takes second base. Gonzalez, I beg your pardon. Wild pitch. Runner in scoring position, nobody out. As we have dug into it a little bit deeper for the Rainiers, you want to talk about pitchers recording at least one out. So keep in mind the Mariners tying the record with 40.
Right.
Major league record. The Rainiers 52.
52.
Double-A Arkansas has a ways to go. 36 pitchers. New Double-A affiliate for the Mariners this year in the Texas League. A walk to McCann. First 2 men reaching. McCann walks for the second time. He's on base for the third time.
Well, the last time they had a couple of runners on, it was maybe in a sacrifice bunt. It was in the 7th inning. Same situation, except for Houston now with a 4-run lead. When you change the wild pitch to a pass ball.
Mike undertook the labor of love of looking into all the teams that have used at least 17 different starters in baseball history.
Yes.
As that is the number for the Mariners right now. There have been 20 altogether in baseball history. The Mariners, of course, being the 20th. And as you can imagine, there are some pretty bad teams over the course of history using at least 17 different starting pitchers. 2-1, nobody out here. And a strike.
Well, you would think so. That's what makes this year so remarkable with what the Mariners are doing.
And that was kind of the thesis of the whole thing. So 20 different teams with at least 17 different starting pitchers. And 8 of them had at least 100 losses.
Yeah, I believe that.
Over half of them, as this gets opposite and both men move up the station, it goes down the steps. Twelve of those 19 other teams had at least 90 losses.
This time it will be a wild pitch. Breaking ball in the dirt. At least not. How many with 90?
12 of the 19. Mariners being the 20th team. Garten warming up. Heredia closing in on it. Gonzalez is at third base, but this is just barely out of the infield.
Houston now 2 for 5 with runners in scoring position.
Maybe the most amazing, though, Buck Showalter's 2004 Texas Rangers. 89 wins for a team that used 17 starting pitchers. 2004 Texas Rangers.
Let's see where they were at offensively that year. Mariners infield playing in. Be the 5th plate appearance for Springer, leadoff hitter. 1 for 3. Scored a run. A good slider from Dan.
Soft pop up. Zunino finds it. 2 outs. Gonzalez staying put at third base. McCann at second.
Alex Bregman going to step in. He came up with the big base hit, a double in the 7th inning to drive in a couple of runs. Double down the right field line.
A check swing. Foul ball to make it 0-1. Twins trailing the Rays right now, top of the 6th. Twins, the 2nd wild card team, 2 games behind the Yankees, with a big win last night against the Red Sox and Chris Sale. Segura out. Motter coming in with 2 hands. 2 runners left stranded in scoring position. We make our way to the bottom of the 8th. of the 8th inning. Now make your voice heard. Nominate your favorite plays of the week by tweeting us using the hashtag #RootFanFave. Each month, one lucky fan will win a Coors Light mini fridge just for participating. For official rules, visit rootsports.com.
I would say that was a pretty good play.
Good day to be out of the lake. Here is Mitch Haniger.
Dallas Keuchel now at 91 pitches.
Artez continuing to warm up in the bullpen, and Francisco Liriano, somewhat new member to the Astros. 1-2 now on Haniger. Hitless today in 3 at-bats after 10 hits in his previous 17 at-bats. When you talk about pitching and how hard it is to acquire good pitching this year and in recent years, and how expensive starting pitching is, look at Mitch Haniger and Gene Segura, the Mariners' opening day shortstop and right fielder, in exchange for, of course, Taijuan Walker, who, although very promising, we all know Taijuan's story very well, still having some things to work out at the time when he left Seattle, although obviously tons of promising potential, which he flashed multiple times in a Mariners uniform. But
two pretty good players.
Two really pretty good players for a guy who is not an opening day starter. Out towards left, and for a base hit, Reddick has it pop off his chest, and that's able to hold Haniger for a single. Want to win tickets to Robinson Cano Bobblehead Night? Text Cano to 71532 and you could win 2 tickets to the Commissioner's Box, plus your very own Robbie bobblehead. Cano looking for his first hit today. He's homered in back-to-back games. 4 hits yesterday, 4 RBIs as well.
Strike out a couple ground outs this afternoon.
A.J. Hinch's team winning 4 in a row entering today. Inside. Next pitch, number 100 for Keuchel. Now for Robbie, once he hit 20 home runs on the season, his 8th 20-homer year. And how that ranks among his peers in terms of middle infielders, the most among any active middle infielder. Passing Troy Tulowitzki, who had 7. Full count.
Keuchel has just stayed inside with his fastball. One strikeout was on a breaking ball away after he went inside a couple of times to Nelson Cruz waiting on deck.
Haniger leads off of first. Up the middle, Correa gets the tag, throw to first in time.
And another ground ball from Keuchel. This one right back up the middle. Correa having to go on the other side of second base. That's why he decided to go with the tag.
Standing there to face Nelson Cruz. Up to this point right now, Keuchel this year. Now remember, we haven't seen him since opening day. He's worked 14 2/3 innings against the Mariners and has given up 2 runs, both coming today. And both have been driven in by Kyle Seager. Single back in the first, a home run in the 6th. Only the 3rd home run that Keuchel had given up to a lefty this year. This is the 2nd highest pitch count for Keuchel this season as Garden continues to warm. Count brushes full now to Cruz. Three-ball count to each batter so far in the 8th. Time call.
Both fastballs inside have been well off the plate. He's gone right back away after the fastball. He will do that again. He's been consistent with that this afternoon. It's a matter whether it's going to be the fastball or the changeup. It's like the changeup. Miss with it now.
2-out walk extends the inning, and it brings out A.J. Hinch. Hinch was going to let him try to get Cruz. Going to the bullpen. A new arm to face Kyle Seager. We've got a pitching change in the bottom of the 8th with 2 outs and Cruz at first.
on this holiday weekend, and we hope that you don't have to. I mean, even Hammering Man here in Seattle gets the day off. You'll find him on First and University, and generally this guy works 20 hours a day. He only has from 1 a.m. to 5 a.m. off, and usually we see that hammer going up and down 4 times per minute. You do the math and calculate to 364 days a year, taking away today, and that's 1.7 million chisels a year, guys. My elbow's getting sore just thinking about it.
Yeah, that seems. I would have taken the under, I guess, on that match. Got a pitching change here. The former Blue Jay, member of John Gibbons' rotation until the deadline. New pitcher on the mound, but first a look at Dallas Keuchel.
Or Dallas Keuchel, he was in control today. 7 2/3, 7 hits, couple of runs, they were earned.
Francisco Liriano, left on left, facing Seager, gets strike 1.
For Liriano, this will be his 30th appearance. High ERA for him. At all the walks, 51 walks in 91 2/3. A lot of walks. 11 home runs is given up.
This gets out of McCann's grasp and pushes Cruz into second base.
Kyle Seager, he's driven in both runs, a base hit in the first inning, and then a home run his last time up in the 6th. Kyle, that was his 20th home run on the year.
Wild pitch puts Cruz in scoring position. Liriano coming over at the deadline in exchange for Norioki. Naoki is now on his 3rd team this year. Began with the Astros, onto the Blue Jays, and now with the Mets. Been a tough year for Liriano. You saw the numbers in total. He's worked exclusively as a reliever since coming to Houston. And he's been knocked around.
So that's a good fastball. The last couple of fastballs, 96 miles an hour. Just missed with both of them, but the velocity is there.
Rangers leading in Atlanta. Texas a half game behind the Mariners in the wild card chase. 3 outside of the Twins. Count to Seager, his last time up, the home run, his 20th. Twins trailing at the trunk. Seager's 6th straight season with 20 homers. Every full season of the majors for Kyle. Gonzalez handles this easily, and that ends the bottom of the 8th. We are going to the 9th. This one beginning to draw to a close. Mariners trying to make some noise late.
Everybody, Angie Mentink here. Maybe you aren't celebrating the end of summer, but perhaps you're celebrating the fact that the kids are going back to school. I'm right there with you. Use the hashtag #WhereIRoot presented by Alaska Airlines and let us know. Mariners day game, and Mandy checks in with, and apparently there is a moose on the loose. I don't see the moose, but he's always nearby. And then Jeff here, Grant and Molly's first game at Safeco Field. Enjoy. And finally, we've got this one from Kijani. Beautiful day for baseball here in the Pacific Northwest, isn't it? The hashtag #WhereIRoot presented by Alaska Airlines. And when you use that hashtag, well, that gives us permission to stick your mug on the broadcast. Guys?
Permission granted. Thank you, Angie. Here is Ryan Garden pitching. Made his Mariners debut just the other day against the A's.
Fastball at 93 miles an hour. Slider, curve, changeup to go with it.
Base hit out, Tuve. Gardner making his major league debut last year. 37 appearances out of Kevin Cash's bullpen in Tampa Bay. Cano to his left. One down. One of the most incredible stories this year in terms of the wild card has been the Minnesota Twins. As we take a look at the American League wild card standings, Twins just continue to hold the second spot, 2.5 in back of the Yankees. Although the Angels, the Orioles, and the Mariners, of course, right on their heels. Rangers not far behind. Pretty remarkable when you look at the Twins this year, Mike. First month of the season, they had a positive run differential, by 4.
Okay.
They were a +4.
All
They've
right.
been a negative run differential every month until August. In August, they went 20-10. This hangs up and plenty of time for Heredia to get there. They went 20-10 last month, and they had a run differential of almost +60.
Wow.
With Miguel Sano basically on the disabled list the entire time. A stress fracture in his shin. It is a recovery process that's taking longer than the Twins thought it would. He's still on the DL. Pretty amazing.
Very amazing. Who was hot outside of Dozier? Rosario, probably.
Byron Buxton is being the guy that they really thought that he would be for a long time.
That's right.
And he's been healthy. That's the other key. Keep in mind the Twins losing 103 games last year.
And you saw Giles getting loose in the pen. Hard throwing right-hander for Houston.
Buxton, by the way, a couple of days ago had the fastest triple on the season per StatCast. He went home to third in 10.5 seconds. He's a long strider, as we have seen. He's such a graceful runner.
Tremendous. The thing about him is his defense has always been there for him, but now that he's put his offense together, he's a player to watch over the next couple of years.
To left center, Heredia and Mater. Guillermo. 2 outs. Out number 3, I beg your pardon. We go to the bottom of the 9th inning. Danny Valencia and the Mariners coming up down to their final 3 outs here today.
Rally cap on. That is good to see. Mariners need 4 to keep this thing going. Coming up on Mariners postgame presented by Alaska Airlines. After the final out, we're going to give credit where credit is due. Erasmo Ramirez has been the Mariners' most consistent starter. He has another strong outing today. And on the other side of things, Dallas Keuchel was tremendous. We will let you know the latest in the AL wildcard race, and we will get you set for tomorrow's contest against the Houston Astros. We'll hear from the skipper after this one, as always. It's all coming up on Mariners postgame presented by Alaska Airlines. Aaron?
Thank you, Angie. Mariners down to their final 3 outs, facing 100 Miles Giles, as his Players Weekend nameplate said.
And 52 appearances for him. A 2.39 ERA, 69 strikeouts over 18 walks. That's in 52 2/3. Opponents hitting just 180 against him.
Facing Ben Gamble off the bench, batting for Valencia. On the check swing he goes. Giles coming off really his best month of the season. He was brilliant in August. 23 punch-outs over 14 innings. Touching 100 this time. Only 1 run allowed last month. And walked only 4.
If you're in the Mariners lineup, being behind 4 runs, he's going to give you some fastballs early in counts, which has been the case so far here. 3 pitches, all of them a fastball. And he goes to an off-speed pitch. Trying to get him early if you can.
2 outs left here, Zunino. Fouls off 100. Mariners will send Ariel Miranda to the mound tomorrow. Middle game of the series. He'll be going up against Justin Verlander, making his Astros debut. Verlander having to waive a no-trade clause to be traded away to Houston. Something that was not an easy decision for him. Back-to-back strikeouts. And again finishing with the breaking ball.
On the off-speed pitch, both of them at 88. We're going to have another pinch hitter. Looks like Alonso is going to hit for Motter. It's come out on deck. It's already a walk to the plate. Alonso on deck.
This has been such a trend as we talk about that slider for Giles. We saw this in the Yankees series, especially with Betances, who could not control his fastball. But guys who throw 100 miles an hour, who throw their breaking ball as much, if not more, than their fastball, and Giles is pretty close to 50-50.
Yeah, he is. I think that the situation, though, we talked about, he's going to throw his fastball early in counts because he's up by 4 runs. Makes it difficult Because as a hitter and you're down by 4, do I take a pitch? Do I not take a pitch? Kind of depends. But I think after seeing the first 2 hitters, he's throwing strikes. That's not an issue today. Give him a chance to swing it, and that's the reason why Heredia ends up fouling it off. To give yourself a chance so you don't have to deal with that slider.
Reaching for it, fouls off 98. Down to his final strike now. Astros looking to win their 5th in a row.